Hello, so today I thought as a break for a few episodes we would play Dungeon Hero, that one, Dungeon Hero, which my eldest daughter pointed me to. It's a quick, fun, portable, solo dungeon crawling zine game, playable in about 15 to 20 minutes. And so I thought we would go through playing that. So to play it, you basically need quite a lot of dice. You need 4 sets of dice. D12, D10, D8, D6, D4 potentially. It's a challenge based system, so you come up with 8 traits for your character, which we'll do in a second, and you then progress through the adventure, and the adventure is a series of statements like so, and you it's like the challenge dice concept. You roll your traits against the challenge and whomever comes out first. Dungeon Hero. So I thought first, because I grabbed all of them, they are pay what you want off of iJo. I'll put the link in the description. But based on the fact that we had for Mockborg, Harmug came across a large a procession with a large coffin, and I thought his name was Jarl. There is an adventure which is the Fortress of the Fire Frost Giant Jarl, and I thought, oh look, let's do that one first. So they're just the little zines, print out, fold up, etc. They're quite lovely. I like those. A bit like 6x6 in that same sort of format. So we will quickly do an us, and then we will play through the Fortress of Frost Giant Jarl. So we will be a Viking-esque. Oh, what's a Viking name? What's a Viking name? Let's randomly pick a Viking name. Let's get the internet to pick me a Viking name. I should have thought about this really, shouldn't I? But I can cut it out. There's editing apparently. Apparently it's possible to edit things down so they're more concise. Viking name. Ivar. Ivar the Legless. We will be Ivar. You start with a resolve of 30. Resolve is the statistic that will basically is your hit points, how determined you are to finish your quest. And stamina is 15. Stamina is, you can use a point of stamina to re-roll a challenge dice, say 1 point for 1 dice. You then get a D12, a D10, a D10, a D8, a D8, a D6, a D6, a D6 to put into traits that you come up with yourself. So you can say things like, so I'm going to say, because I've already thought about this vaguely just before sitting down, although I didn't think of a name, D12 for Axe Warrior, so fighting with an axe. I'm going to do a D10 for shield or shield use. How about a D8 for can take the cold, like a thick warm coat. Sorry, that's another D10. D8 for, let's see, what else could we have? Strong arm. D8. Oh no, I'm going to do one of the D6. I'm going to have a winning beard. I don't know if that's going to help. You never know. We have a D8 and a D6 to distribute. What else can we have? Oh, survival. Let's have a D8 surviving outside. D6. What could we have as a D6? Cautious. Cautious tracking. Stealthy hunter. Cautious. What sort of person is our Ivar? Ivar is determined. A D6 of determined. So we'll go through it. So as I said, you have a list of things that happen. You start with one thing, and the thing we're starting the game with is a game trait of freezing snow. And freezing snow gets wrong one. Excuse me. Freezing snow gets a D6. So I've got 2 sets of dice. I've got 4 sets of dice. I have 2 sets that are black, one with green numbers, one with white numbers, and 2 sets that are green. So I think I'm going to use the black ones as the game and the green ones as me. So it starts off with a D6 with freezing snow. Then we have a piece that we read out, which has a little lock, so that means you stop and you read this out. So to start off with, you stagger through the freezing snow, and in the darkness you see the faintest glowing of a fireplace at an encampment. Now we roll what's called an advancement dice, which is a D6. It can be any of the D6s. I'm going to use this green one to start off with. And that gives you a second trait to compare against. So there are 6 in the first gap, and our first one is number 6, and number 6 is closed encampment. And so that also has a D6. So it has D6. So we have a closed encampment in the freezing snow. So we've been traipsing through the freezing snow, attempting to find somewhere warm that we're heading towards, maybe the fortress of Frost Giant Jarl, to try and force it. And we've come across these large spiked big log walls, and we saw from an elevation when we were looking down that there's fire inside it. So we've got to this closed encampment. And so because I've got I had a strong rope, and a strong rope has a D6, so we will use a strong rope. What else do we have? A strong rope, a strong arm, and we have a D8 in a strong arm. D8 with a strong arm. That D8. Let's use the other D8. Let's use our speckled D8. So we have a D6, which is our strong rope, and a D8, which is our strong arm. And what we're going to attempt to do is climb over this encampment to get inside it. Yeah, why not? It's enclosed. We could keep going around it, but we'll climb over and then we'll just shout hello as we're climbing over the top of this. So now, in retrospect, I'm thinking to myself, if someone came climbing over the fence, you wouldn't actually feel very happy with them. So the black ones are the game. The green ones are us trying to scout in this freezing cold snow, climbing over the wall. So we're going to fall off the wall, it seems like, because we've got 5 is the highest there. And we've got a 3 here and a 2 there. We have no matching. So we would take a point of resolve. So this means that a bad thing happens. So the game has the advantage at the moment. The difference is the amount of resolve damage we take. So it's a long, hard, and we pull a muscle in our back whilst we're trying to climb up and over the encampment. Pulling a muscle in our back, trying to get over the encampment. So we could take 1 resolve in that damage, or we could attempt to re-roll one of these 2 dice. But I'll just take 1 resolve. So straining up with the rope, pull, straining our back. And maybe get some splinters or some rope burns, and we topple over the edge of the encampment. So that gives us 29 resolve. We have a new lock thing. So we climb over and then we explore this encampment, and we bump into the village chieftain. You meet with the village chieftain, and he agrees to give you shelter for the winter if you agree to help his men fight the Frost Giant Jarl, who has set up camp in a nearby ravine and has been conducting raids against his people of late. You have no choice to agree, and you set off with him and all of his men. Now it says, roll 1d6 plus 2. You have that many Vikings you can use to fight the enemies. You may spend a Viking to add plus 2 to one of your challenge die rolls, or to ignore all resolve loss from a challenge roll. Each time you use a Viking, add an extra 3rd D8 despair trait to the environment on the next challenge roll. Alright, so we have a D. So we set off with a D6 plus 2 with 7 Vikings, and each time we can flip back to this. So now we've got to this stage, we would now roll another advancement dice, 5, and we go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is frostbite. So we add frostbite to the traits, frostbite D10. Frostbite, D10, and we get rid of the oldest one, which is freezing snow. So we also have closed encampment, and closed encampment was a D6. So the game has a D6 and a D10. Now we have, what did we have? We can take the cold, so we can take the cold, which is a D10, and we've got determination, which is a D6. So we are leaving the closed encampment, so pushing open the gates. Strong freezing cold wind blows at us. Or could I do surviving outside? If I use surviving outside instead of determination, surviving outside means that I can then turn around and say, so not only can I take the cold, but because I can survive outside, the 7 Vikings that the 7 Vikings that are with us, either will say, grab some of the hay and pad that within your britches. You stop. Put some gloves on. Stop acting like you're tough. You'll lose your fingers if you don't put some gloves on. And you just get a tissue. Your nose is running all over the place to try and fight against the frostbite whilst leaving the encampment. So we will roll this. We have a matching 5 and 5, and we have a 6 and a 3. It wins with a 6. We've got a 5 and 5 here, so that 5 goes to that, so that's another point. So the environment wins. The frostbite gets to some of the, so 6 and 5 gets to some of the Vikings. We will take 1 resolve by helping to carry some of the load of some of the Vikings, which is also pulling on that muscle in our back. As we continue to move forwards in the adventure. So we would get rid of closed encampment. We have frostbite, and so some of the Vikings are suffering from frostbite, and now we've gone to 14 winter wolves. Winter wolves have a D8 and they have a threat of 6. So when you're fighting against a monster, they have a D10 and a D8. This is my weird D8. That's actually a D8. Now, so we're obviously traipsing through the snow as we're being led by one of the Viking trackers who knows how to get to the encampment of the Frost Giant Jarl. And as we're moving through the forest, we're hearing movement within the forest of various different is this winter? Yeah, winter wolves. And a pack of wolves spring upon our party and begin to attack us. Now, what did this say? I can use up a Viking. I can throw a Viking to the challenge, which will give me +2 to one of my challenge dice. Or I can ignore all resolve loss from the challenge. But each time I use a Viking, a third D8 despair trait is added to the environment on the next challenge roll. Okay, so I don't necessarily want to do that. So I have a D12 for my axe and a D10 for my shield. So I use an axe and shield to go in. So what happens here is we roll these for the wolf attacking the wolves, pack of wolves attacking our Viking. And this is like the first round of combat. So I have a 12 at the highest. The wolves get a 9. The difference between 9 and 12 is 3. So their threat drops from 6 to 3. The wolves have taken quite a battering by our warriors. Have all formed up in to protect ourselves with a shield wall back to back as the wolves are coming at us. Being ferocious, they really are hungry. It's cold and they're hungry, and we are fresh meat. But we are able to take out a couple of the wolves. but still they're still persisting against us. So then we roll another round of combat. So we've got, oh, this is very good. So we have an 11, and they have, their highest is a 2, difference being 9. So we defeat the largest wolf who had been keeping the pack together, who bounds at Ivor. Ivor parries his teeth and cuts him down with his axe, and the rest of the wolves take that as a point to turn tail and run off into the snow. We collect up some of the wolves that are left over and tend to any of the Vikings who have been injured. Everyone has stood quite well, and we breathe heavily, and big plumes of smoke go into the air from our breath as it's so cold. So we roll another advancement dice. A 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've got, this reminds me of the Top Gear episode when they go to the pole. So Winter Wolves drops. So when you fight someone, you don't drop the oldest one, you drop that one. So we still have Frostbite, and we now have got added to Frostbite, weaving through giant ice shards, which is a D6. So we've left the forest area, and we've entered into a flat plain of massive boulders and icy shards. So that has a D6, and we still have Frostbite affecting us. The cold is still affecting us. So I think this is possibly because we still have the cold affecting us, we have a D10, and this is probably the surviving outside. Not a winning beard. A winning beard helps us against Frostbite. So this is probably also surviving outside, which is a D8. More than determination, because we're actually weaving through the ice shards, so we're trying to find our best path moving through the ice shards. So again, we roll. We have a 5 is the highest, so we're really taking a battering from the wind with our 3. Ivor is taking the cold is getting worse as Ivor is moving forwards through the snow, but still we keep all of our Vikings together, because we'll need all of our Vikings when we come into to fight against Jarl and the other ice giants. So we then are moving forwards weaving through these ice shards, trying to continue, because these will contain, so we're still weaving through the ice shards. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, okay. So as we're moving through the ice shards, we see ahead of us a figure, which to start off with, because through the driving snow and trying to manipulate our ways through these giant boulders and shards of ice sticking up through the plains, all they do is they create more eddies from the wind, which is driving into our eyes. Our beards caked in snow. Ahead of us there is a figure that seems to be quite close, and then we realise he's not close, he's a giant, and he's far off and patrolling across an area where the ice shards seem to have cleared. But actually they won't, will they? Because he will go, and then we'll still have ice shards which continue beyond the field of ice shards continues. But obviously we're getting closer, because we've just found a giant, and a frost giant. So next we've got Frost Giant Sentry. So maybe beyond the Sentry we might find the cave complex, which is hides Jarl. This giant has a threat of 8 and is a D8. So we have a D6 as we continue to try, as we're going to try and fight this ice giant in the ice shard, and we have a D8. Even though I think we will definitely use our axe, but because we're still within the ice shards, it makes sense that even though using the D10 for the shield would be good, maybe we would continue to use surviving outside, which is a D8, as we're still attempting to manipulate our way around these ice shards. And also that would give us, because it's surviving outside, we can use that to creep up upon. So we get the warriors, and we hunker down behind some of the larger boulders, trying to maneuver ourselves as close as we can to the sentry before we have to expose ourselves and do a possible charge. But we send half of the warriors over on one side, and we go over to the right hand side, attempting to encircle the giant, who is covered in furs with a large club he carries in both hands over his shoulder. Class, like, how stereotypical. Stereotypical! That's what I was thinking of. In a Call of Cthulhu game, there was a police officer who had his feet up on a desk. Stereotypical. Stereotype. That was the word. It only took days and days for me to think of it. So a stereotype, big beard, matted hair, giant is trying to look out and keep track as we attempt to get close enough that we can see the breath come out of his mouth and the icicles on his beard hanging from his nose. And then we scream charge in Norse and dive at this huge giant who begins to wave his club and defend himself. Ooh. So we've got three threes, but it wins with a 5. So Ivor takes a smash to the face from the club, and he's thrown back into the snow as the other warriors move in and attempt to cut at the giant's legs. Shall we throw a warrior into it? If we throw a warrior into it, we get a +2. If we throw 2 warriors, we can defeat it. Let's use a stamina and re-roll our d12. Okay, I'm going to use... So, Ivor gets his strength together, pushes himself off of the snow, and then runs in. Yes! Runs in to the warrior who was about to club several of the Vikings down. Ivor runs in, doing 4 points of damage, hacking at the back. Oh, what a coward! Of the giant, of the Frost Giant, who buckles onto one knee, swinging his club to try and clear some space and defend himself. Oh, he does a darn good job of it. I think we might re-roll that d12 again. Oh dear, our stamina's now down. This is what happened with my luck in Cthulhu. Ivor jumps back from the club being swung. Oh, 6, not very good. But good enough that I only take 2 resolve. Though the club catches Ivor in the shoulder, knocking Ivor again out and against one of the giant ice shard boulders. Ivor goes, oh, this back muscle. Pulls himself up off the ground, screaming at the warriors, charge back in, stop running away and charge in. He's almost down. Oh, look. So what it says is if you roll... Oh, matching would be us and them. There's no point rolling that because it's 1 anyway. Is that what... Because it says when you roll... If there's a tie. Okay, yeah, no, it's not a tie. The cold is beginning to get to Ivor, who takes another point of resolve. So we can see that it's 1. With our 3, we're taking 1 point of resolve. So Ivor, this battle is dragging on, which is tiring Ivor and the warriors. But at last, we get an upper hand. Oh, it's on 1 hit point left. Because we've got 3 difference. It had 4, so 1 left. At last we get the upper hand. One of the warriors carrying a spear jabs a spear into its side as another warrior attempts to smash its head with a shield, screaming that they will defend their home. They will... poor giants, they're only trying to live their lives. And as the giant staggers... Yes, well, very much so. As the giant staggers, we all pile in, giving the final fatal blow to the giant, and it is unable to keep itself upright any longer, and falls to the ground, where we continue to search its body and look for any signs of where we need to go next. So, and then we move forwards within our adventure. So another D6. That gives us a 2, which moves us to 23, which is choking point in the ice chasm. So we have weaving through the ice shards, which is a D6, and now we have a choke point in the ice chasm. So we have the chasm, which we're voyaging down, attempting to get to where the giant's encampment is and try and attack the giants. And we've got this very narrow point that we're going to attempt to get through. The choke point is a D8. D8. Oh no, we could use the weird D8. So we will then. So what will we have? So we've got a strong rope and determination. We have a winning beard. Let's use winning beard. Let's try and convince, because it's a choke point and we've just fought a giant and some wolves. Some of the Vikings are considering turning back. We use the fact that we have a strong winning beard, a D6, to convince them with our determined nature, which is D6. So it does say, one of the things it does say in here is, be honest, don't just use a D12 and a D10 for every situation. If you can't think of a reason a trait would apply, use a D4. So I do have some D4s just in case. You don't normally need D4s. But we are going to say that we're going to use our strong determination and our winning beard. I trimmed mine just the other day. And our winning beard to convince the warriors that we need to keep going through this choke point. Keep pursuing. The choke point is going to go for a while because it will continue as the next trait. And we're going to see if we can push through. What do we have? So it's got a 5, so it would win that. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a stamina. Oh, no, not that. That's a resolve. I'm going to use a stamina to re-roll its 5, and hopefully it gets low. It got a 1. Awesome. So we use the power of the beard and the strength of determination to convince the warriors that they need to keep going with us. We need to keep strong and keep moving forwards. Now what's left is we've got 24, which is rhyme ravens, and then we have a fixed point where we would then stop. So if I roll more than 1, I rolled a 1. Okay, so so we've got the choke point. We've left the ice shards behind. We're still pursuing down the choke point, and within this choke point there are some nesting places. So as we're going down this thin ravine, one in a line, there's some nesting places where there are some ravens. They have a D8 and they are going to begin attacking us. They have a threat of 6, so they have a D8, and what we've got, our choke point also has a D8, and we are now moving through there as they're attacking us. I am going to, so possibly swinging the axe. So you're trying to be creative. Swinging the axe would be, so I'm going to say we'll use the shield, but swinging the axe might be dangerous because we're in this enclosed space. So instead we are just going to use our strong arm, which is our D8, in attempting to defend ourselves and batter these ravens as they come attacking us. So this pack of ravens come attacking in this enclosed space, and all of us are attempting to defend ourselves against these ravens. Oh, I rolled a 7. So, and it's got 5. So we are knocking, so it takes 2 out of its 6, leaving it with a 4 threat. So as the ravens are diving in, we're battering against, and we're trying to protect ourselves with shields, knocking the ravens against, trying to deter them and make them think better of attacking us. As the ravens continue to attack and swoop in. Oh, it's got an 8. That's a max. I could use a stamina to re-roll it and try and get less, though it could still get more than us. I've got 12 stamina. Yeah, I'm going to use a stamina to try and re-roll this d8. It gets a 4, which is a matching against my d10. That's all right. So to do so on that cost a stamina. So putting me down to 11 stamina, or either down to 11 stamina. So what we do when we have a matching max, which was the thing I just looked up, we remove the other dice and we just re-roll those that match. So I guess if these were also rolling 4s, then we have a slight advantage possibly. It's got a 6. I have a 4. I will spend. So if I throw, all right, let's throw that. So one of our Vikings, so that would match again. So one of our Vikings is caught by one of the ravens. Oh, that means we get. So we also will now have. Oh, that was a bit foolish of me, wasn't it? A despair at a d8, as well as I've only got the 4 sets of dice, which would put that to a 6 versus a 6. So that means we get to reroll again. So we lose one of our Vikings in the battle. He falls to the ground. A raven on his shoulder pecking at his head. We chase the raven away, but sadly blood has been spilled. We have a 10. That's good. So 10 versus 8 gives us a 2, knocking the threat down to 2. We then keep going. So the ravens are starting to look a bit, there's less of them, but still we've lost one of our comrades. Ragnar was one of the names I looked up. Also Ragnar the thingy. We've got 3, a East Rider 5. This time Ivor takes a raven to the head. Ivor gets a big scratch across his shoulder, and the claws are coming. We're all getting tired as the ravens persist in attacking against us, swooping as we're attempting to move down this cavern and get to the other side. Nice. So our 6 matches against one of its 2s, giving a 4. The last of the ravens does its last swoop, and then they're gone as quickly as they came, and we continue to go down the ravine. This is where we'll get to our next point. After a harrowing journey up the mountain, your group comes within sight of the Frost Jarl's fortress. It will be difficult to enter. The chieftain whispers over to you, saying that if you've never fought giants before, we have just now, that you should keep an eye on their attacks from overhead. Choose one of your traits. When fighting a frost giant, you may add +1 to its roll. Alright, so we're going to choose shield. So we get +1 when using shield to fight frost giants, because if it's from overhead, then we're holding our shield over our head, defending ourselves as we get attacked. We then need to do another advancement roll, getting a 3. 1, 2, 3. So we've got evading frost giant patrols. So we have got, what was our next one? Choke point. So choke point in the ice chasm is the oldest one. We had rhyme ravens, so we've still got the choke point. We have despair, choke points, d8, evading patrols, d8, and then we'll roll one of those d8s again, I guess. And then so we would use surviving outside is a d8 for us. Determined, strong rope, no, no. So we're trying. So surviving outside gives us that. We either can try and keep everyone in control by using our winning beard, which is convincing other people, or we will just keep pursuing through, which is determined, which is a d6. So we have a d6. Now it had an additional d8. I will give it the dark green d8 as its d8. So we've now starting to see more frost giants patrolling, and the ice cavern is become shallower, so it's about chest height as we're still continuing. So we could get spotted by these frost giants, but instead we are going to try and creep and take our time and evade some of these patrols to continue pursuing forwards. and get to Frost Giant Jarl's fortress. Well, I think this might be our last roll, and then I might stop it for now. that's apt time. So it has got a 9, a 1, and a 3. I have got a 4 and a 1. So I can re-roll the 1, our 1. Actually, I might spend a stamina to re-roll our 1 and see if we get a high number, and then re-roll its 9. I wonder if we can do that. So we use 1 stamina. Oh, that's a 1. So we've used up 1 stamina. 10. I can save one of, so that would be, so what would that be? That would be 5 resolve damage. That's a lot, because we're on 19. Or I could say, but then they'll get another despair dice. Maybe we'll use 2 more stamina. We've got 10. No, even that's not good. I think we're going to have to lose. I think one of the Frost Giants is going to almost catch one of the Vikings who are with us. He slips and slides down the mountain, almost in slow motion. We can't do anything to save him because we'd all get caught by the patrols, and we just see him slowly sliding down, and just with grim determination not to call out, not to scream, we just see this strong Viking warrior slip down the gorge, down the mountain, silently to his death, so as to keep us all alive. And at that point, we would move on. So we will roll the next one next time. So we're now continuing to evade patrols. We have a despair dice. We only have 5 Vikings left, and for that was really good. I really enjoyed that. Just for something that was printed on a little piece of paper, that's awesome. And that was 40 minutes. And I know I talk a lot, but that's a lot of entertainment from 2 pieces of paper and $3, $3 US. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Okay, I'll do the next one. I don't know when I'll get a chance to do the next one, but yeah, that was really cool. And for that, I think that's done.